sarve Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So we are at verse 44 of chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. In 43 Krishna Bhagavan was talking about the person. If anybody has done any sadhana in their life, it never goes waste. And there is no destruction for a person who is treading this path, even if he doesn't reach the goal. And in that context, the verse 43, he said, he's talking about the person who is born again, continues with the path. So there he comes to be united with the knowledge acquired in his former body and strives more than before for perfection, O son of the Kurus. So there were two important things, that wherever he left off, he's going to pick it up. Nothing goes waste. And secondly, he's going to strive more. So even that one was very significant. That's what he said in the previous verse. So in the current verse, 44, it's the same idea elaborated more. How it happens, a little bit more science in there. So the verse is Purvya bhasena taineva hriyate hyavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Purva bhasena. I had difficulty saying that. So, Purva Bhyasena means former practice. Actually, it's sandhi of Purva and Abhyasena. Tena is by that. Eva, verily. Hriyate is born. He is indeed. Avasha, helpless. So, Hindi mein bolte na vash. So, ye avash. So, vash means kisi ko vash mein kar lena. Helplessly means avash. Api is even, sa is he, jignasu, the one who has a jignasa, who has a curiosity of who am I? He who wishes to know yoga. So here, jignasa about yoga is the same thing, uniting with the higher. So it's the same thing. Api is even, yogasya of yoga, shabda brahma, word Brahman. So he's talking about Om, and then there are some deeper meaning to this whole thing, and we'll see as we go. Ati vartate, goes beyond. So what is he saying over here? Since it is a similar idea elaborated from the last time, so he's talking about the one who takes the birth again, and then what happens to him? He joins with that knowledge that he had, but in this, how does it happen? That's what he's talking about over here. So basically, the person is doing abhyas sincerely in his previous life, and then we know what happened in two different scenarios, that either they died or they got away from that abhyas temporarily, and they are born again. So then what happens to the abhyas? Does it get lost? We discussed that it doesn't. So what kind of abhyas he was doing? Whatever Krishna Bhagavan had mentioned, practicing to quieten the mind. So he may be doing so many different kind of ways to do it, and some of them, just to revise over here, yam, niyam, or various kind of japa. He may be doing pranayam, sadhana, puja, tapas, whatever he was doing in the previous life. So what happens is when you do those things, just like any other thing, that also creates impressions in us. Like we talked about that, hey, our swabhav is like our tendencies from previous time. So obviously when he's doing all those things, that also creates a impression. So that's where the little bit of science comes in. How is it happening? So, and then we saw there were two different scenarios. That one was lacking in vairagya, but he had done a lot of practice. So then goes to Swargalok. Then he's born in a rich and pure family, and then he fulfills his desire and continues. That was one. It's like it could be, any kind of pious family, and then but with means, so he doesn't have to struggle, for his everyday life. And then then what happens is that with the it says purva bhyasena, that with the force of his swabhava, you can call it, he's gone back to the abhyas. So this, according to the previous practice, that impressions are there, they just pop up, kind of, and it automatically happens. Somebody doesn't have to really do something. It is inherent in them. And in small babies, you see certain tendencies, and as they grow, it starts showing up more and more, and that's what they're talking about. So Nikhilanandji gave a very good example, that he said that it's something like, suppose in this life, somebody's like singing. So he goes to a teacher and he learns how to sing, and then he's doing abhyas, and he's saying he keeps practicing singing, and then he becomes like he's all the time singing in the day. Bathroom mein bhi sing kar raha hai, or while walking also singing, and eating also, and it just automatically just coming out of him. So he just gave a worldly example, that's what happens to this person. It is kind of embedded deep within him. It is stronger than the environment that he's in, and we'll see how. And because the other way of looking at it is his mind is made up of that habit, So when you do certain abhyas continuously, it cultivates that habit, and it automatically comes out. And then he was talking about that we all have done this. In the childhood, we by-hearted some poem or something, and when we are young, in first grade, second grade, we don't even know the meaning, And then we have by-hearted it, and later on, you hear some tune or and then suddenly it comes out, everything, that comes out. And then when you are grown up, you say, oh, now I know this is what the meaning is. That time I didn't even know. So we have all experienced, because India mein to humse bahut ratta lagwaya jata tha, right? Memorization was a big thing when we were growing up. So that's how he was saying that it's a kind of similar principle. So he's saying that some people, they may have taken a lot of Bhagwan ka naam smaran kiya hoga kisi ne, so it has gone deep within them. And he's saying next lifetime, it just comes out. And that's why we have our all favorite Ishta Devatas. Sometimes we don't know why. Some people get attracted to Shiva, another one to Krishna and Devi and all that, because we may have done those kind of practices in our previous life. So you cannot explain it, that why I'm attracted to this one particular form, but that's what it is. It's our previous life. And then he was talking about that sometimes, you may take birth at a different country and all that. And the culture may look totally different. And suddenly that mantra is popping out of you. Moment you hear a little bit here and there. And for us, because Hare Krishna is right here, I see this all the time, that these people, they were born completely in the Western culture. And, they start chanting, with so much passion, and they have memorized Bhagavad Gita more than all of us. At least, I know in this class, more than all of us, that they know the verses, the number, the this, the that. Something is connected so fast from the previous life, no doubt about it. So, because impressions are there in their, subconscious mind, you can call it, And so these are like the vasanas, the good vasanas that they have. Usually we are trying to get rid of vasanas, but these particular vasanas are, to begin with. In the end, you have to drop everything, but healthy vasanas. And then another word is over avashaha. Avasha meaning helplessly, as though forced by these impressions, that person is doing it, in that direction, and nothing can stop him. He just does it. So that's what this avasha word over here. And he's saying that Nikhilananji was actually joking. He's saying that sometimes, parents come to him who maybe, with good means, wealthy and all that, and then their children suddenly develop interest in some spirituality, तो फिर वो घबरा जाते हैं, अरे क्या होगा, ये तो शादी नहीं करेगा, और he will not do the family business or something, and then so they come to him and they say, स्वामी जी इसको समझाइए, पहले ये कितना अच्छा था, वो नाइट क्लब में जाता था, आजकल पता नहीं इसको क्या हो गया, आपके लेक्चर में जाता है. So he said that people, because the person's previous life thing, it's not like Swamiji has done some jadoo or anything on him. He's just connecting, So that's what it is. Avasha, jo humne bola. And he's saying that sometimes even that person wonders ki mere ko ho kya gaya hai. Like, I'm not interested in all the other people my age, and they are going off to one places and I'm interested in this kind of stuff. Even they have a doubt sometimes, in the beginning. But he's saying no. But what happens is until they pursue that path, they are not satisfied. They have to just do it, and their mind craves for it. It may be a bad example, but just like people physically get addicted to some, things, this is a mental addiction, craving for coming from the past life to connect to spirituality. So, at least we can understand the science behind it. So the person will do this and continue on this path. And then another little more deeper explanation of Purva Abhyasena, that not only he will continue, but he will be provided with all the facilities to continue. That's another, that even the universe is helping him, And that's why that when Krishna Bhagavan said that this person is born in affluent family, because he can continue his sadhana with more easy. But one of his problem was that he did not have jignasa, means he did not have that strong vairagya or a strong mindset to know this truth, because the second line over here is jignasu api yogasya. So he's talking about that jignasa, that he will develop this little more vairagya and develop this jignasa, or the curiosity to know the truth, to know the knowledge, because that's another very, very important component. In fact, that they say that karma yoga purifies your mind. After it purifies your mind, you get this curiosity, who am I? If your mind is not pure, you're not going to even ask that question. So if somebody's asking that question, your mind is already getting relatively purified. So that's where this fits in over here. So, and then another very important thing that it said, and there is a little more deeper meaning about that, he goes beyond the Shabda Brahma. So what are they talking about? He goes beyond, he's not interested in the karma phala of his work. So jo swarg lok ki desire hoti hai na, ki when you do all the yagas, yagnas and all that, mere ko swarg lok mile. We had discussed that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Bhagavan has put that at a lower level. And then we saw in Kathopanishad it's the same thing, that it is at a lower level. So this person goes beyond this desire to enjoy the results. Because when you have the desire to enjoy the result, that's when you desire the Swarga Loka, somewhere in the future I want to enjoy. All that is gone. He wants this thing now, that kind of thing. He transcends it, the desire of all the karmas and all that, and more interested in the spiritual knowledge. So, and then, so what does it mean for us, this whole thing, that whatever sadhana we do, we should do it very sincerely and have faith and trust in God, because this is telling you the whole spectrum, and everybody will be at different levels and all that, but not to give up this path, because there's so many advantages of it, So, and we should have a trust that God will take care of us, give us the proper results and continue. So that's where it comes for our duty. And, this is what we should be doing. And then what Swamiji was saying, Dilliwale Swami was saying, that even you can look at it from the karma phal also, because God at that, one is Brahman and one is Ishwar. Ishwar is the one at that level, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, at that status, he's the karma phaladata. So he's going to give all the results anyway to us, but this person doesn't desire those swargalok kind of things. And the necessary result, what we want is appropriate for us, will come to us. And he also reminded us that it is not just one life he's talking about. It is many different lives and the journey. And we have been in this many times. So the idea is to just keep on moving towards the final goal, because it's not just like, if we look at it like those other cultures, boloya, other religion, that hey, only one life and all that, then there is some kind of a issue over here. Oh my God, if I don't get what I want, then I'm done with. No, we have to accept that there are many different opportunities and no effort goes waste. That's the main thing in this whole thing. So basically every thought, every action, every sadhana, whatever we do in that direction, every name of God that we have taken, everything adds to the progress. As simple as that. So just keep trudging along. And then he gave a beautiful example. He said it's like a tree growing. When a tree is growing, you don't see the growth, but it is happening. So he said that was such a beautiful example I thought he gave, that when you are doing all this sadhana, it is adding to that growth. So just be very happy about that, And because sometimes we may not be able to perceive that growth, right? And we say, oh, I'm doing this for so long, nothing is happening and all that. It's the same thing. Like you can't see the tree go, but it's growing. If you see after a few years, and sometimes I always say that, we see yourself 10 years before, then you will know the difference. Hey, maybe I used to get more upset and this and that before. And, this I think I may have shared it, but this is very relevant over here. And this one of the young brahmacharis said it over here in the mandir, that, they go for book distribution here in Hare Krishna. And he said that one of the young monk was a little hot-headed, so if somebody started arguing with him and he kind of gave him back some words and then say, hey, you are a monk, you shouldn't be doing this. And he said, after I joined this whole program, I'm much better. Before that, I would have punched you. So that's what it is, that other people may not see the progress, but you yourself might know that, hey, I have changed. My threshold has changed. I thought that was a very good example. So, this in Bhagavad Gita, throughout, Bhagwan is always encouraging Arjun to tread this path, and then he tells him that there is no destruction. We saw that. And then, so in nutshell, this is this whole thing, that whatever we have done, 4 or 5 verses, that, one who is striving, he is born again, and if he lacks vairagya, he goes to the Swargalok enjoys, because that's what his desire was, and then he's born again in a rich and pure family and pursues his sadhana. And suppose if his vairagya is strong, then he will be born in a yogi's family, and his parents will have this necessarily means, and he will get connected to the yogi. And then one of the points, very important one, the Dilliwale Swami brought out, that it's not necessary that the parents have to be yogis themselves. They could be pure householder, but they very quickly he will get connected to a master. And he's saying that when you get connected to the master, it's almost like being born in a family of yogi. That is so powerful, because like if you hear about the biography and all that, or their own experience of all these Mahatmas that have come, they will say that their relationship with their guru was a lot more stronger than their parents. So that's why. So even if you have to just don't take it like a very fixed thing, these things. There is a lot of hidden meaning behind it. So I thought that was a very important point he said, that what it means, that being born in a yogi's family, that you get connected to a master very quickly who is a yogi. And then Next mantra will be telling more that how he will continue with the abhyasa. Because I think Krishna Bhagwan really took his time to answer this doubt of Arjuna, because this doubt comes to everybody's mind. Because we don't remember our past, we don't know our future. This is a great assurance for us that that anything you do on this path is so valuable. That's what he's trying to tell. So, any question or comment before we read, or anybody wants to add anything? Yes, Dr. Prabhakar.
Not comment. I just want to have some clarifications. One is that Krishna Bhagavan said that whatever abhyas we do, it is not going to be of waste. It is going to continue in the future lives. It doesn't mean that it not necessarily the immediate life. It could be any time during the lives, right? Am I right in thinking that?
I mean, when he's talking about this, we have to assume, see what he said, that if you have done a lot of practice, but you still have a lot of desire left and you don't have that vairagya, then he's saying you will go to higher lokas. So because basically what he's trying to say, that people who are really striving for this don't lose out on anything. Because those other people who are desiring Swarga Loka, they are doing so much yagna, yaga and all that. You are not doing all of that. You are just trying to find the truth, and you are still getting that result by going to higher lokas. So you're not losing out on anything. So when we say many birds, you're not going to go devolve. You're going to evolve. That's what the promise is over here, which is very significant.
When one is born in a different country, you mentioned about different country and different culture. Am I to understand that this, whatever the abhyas is done, irrespective of the culture, irrespective of the country, it is going to evolve?
Yes. And more you see that, how cross-culture people connect, because that's what they have done in the past, but for whatever reason they got born. God knows, maybe they had a desire. Somebody may have a desire to be born in some great affluent country, rich country or something. ठीक है, अमेरिका में born हो जाओ, मगर your Hare Krishna or Om Namah Shivaya is not going to go away. Yeah.
My last one is, forgive me. I want you to explain a little bit more on the word Shabda Brahman. Because Shabda means sound, Brahman means Paramatma, as I understood.
Yes.
Is it a true? What does it mean? You mentioned it nicely, but I want you to explain.
So when we do our commentary, then Swamiji is also going to throw some light on it. Because Shabda Brahma, Om, जो symbol है ना, उसको भी Shabda Brahma बोलते हैं. But उसमें Om में there is a science. Remember we talking about that science? U and Ma. So when you do a sadhana, U sadhana and Ma sadhana, they are more a sadhana to achieve something.
Correct.
Some phala. But then when you are in between the two Oms, when there's silence, the Turiya state. So he's saying that this person who is striving such, he will go beyond the material gains and he will go more into the Turiya side of it. That's what it means. So he'll go beyond. Usko encourage kar rahe hain.
It is two between two Oms.
Yes. So that's one, and very simply put, you can say he's not interested in the material gain anymore. And he's not looking at faida, labh, ye, wo, and he's not looking at happiness and sadness and all that. Those things become immaterial for him. Kind of thing. And he goes beyond. Yeah.
I have a basic question.
Yeah.
And that is, the number of human beings are increasing by the year, from year to year, from decades to decades and all that. So how do you explain the additional number of human beings if it is a birth and rebirth cycle among the human beings?
Because
it could be that lower forms of life get promoted to higher forms of life. Perhaps. I don't know.
So this question, always somebody brings it everywhere. So this is the problem. We humans, our intellect is extremely limited, number one, right? So we are looking at from what we understand. And then we get stuck on this earth only. And no, even the Shastras don't limit themselves to the earth. They talk about so many different lokas. And here you're talking about one solar system, which is like so insignificant in the entire cosmos. And then even from the astronomy perspective, now they are saying there multi-universes could be there. And when you talk about just going beyond our own galaxy have God knows how many billion, trillion. I can't even know. I'm not a math person, so मेरा तो सर ही घूमने लगता है. So when we are talking about number, it doesn't mean anything, because humans being, why are we thinking that we are going to be born only on the earth, right? We can be in the Swargaloka and all that. That's one point. And when it comes to Brahman is one, everything else is its reflection. And if you have one sun, you can have million reflection if you want, or you can have 10 reflection. It depends on the medium, how it's going to. So once you expand your thinking, that question will dissolve in it. It's like the number don't matter, because the math, we are not capable of doing that, math. That who gets evolved, who doesn't, and why the number. And when we talk about human population, we think that we are the highest right now at 7 billion. If you even read Mahabharata, which happened 5,000 years ago, they talk about God knows how many number of people. So it's cyclic again, So I don't know if that answered your question, but there are so many factors that it after a while it doesn't matter.
Also, one thing always intrigued me. I just saw an article. What is the population of ants on this earth? And each ant has a soul in it, because they follow
Exactly.
all the rules we do, and they're like 200 trillion ants.
अरे इधर सेंडियो को ही गिन लो एंट. अभी ये जो गर्मी आई ना, मेरे घर में चली आई एंट सब.
I know.
And I'm like, कहाँ से आ रही है ये सब?
They send a scout, they see where the stuff is, then all of them come,
Yeah.
And so all the strategies they follow, the MIT has a whole course on it, art of war in ants and all that. So they have the same soul which we have. I mean, their thinking and all is exactly like human beings.
So in other words, even if we don't go to other planets and all, if we just look at the life on the earth, the number of life is so many that we cannot comprehend. So because we only get stuck.
They said 84 lakh yonia, jiske baad you get human birth. So there are like 83 times some lakhs also there. So
Anyway, Narayanji, do you still have any other? You were saying something. Yeah, go ahead. What you were saying?
Well, it's the same thing I was telling you about, 20,000 quadrillion ants.
right.
Oh, okay.
20,000 ants. So are you saying the life of that ant get promoted to the next jiva or the...
Right.
Yeah, it is going to, it goes through all different, but the human birth is the most precious, because that's
Unlimited supply coming.
So the avatars you are talking about, like Matsya Kurma Varaha, all those avatars, does that fit into what Bhagavan is explaining? And how is that conjoined?
so it can, because it's a theory of evolution is right there. Everybody must have heard about it. In the Shavatar, there is a theory of evolution. It started with a fish, and that's what these people say, that the life started in the water, and then it became Kurma, which is on the earth, as well as it can go to both places, right? And third was Varaha, so it's animal, is a little higher form, and then it was Vaman, and then it was, then it became I think Parshuram, and then Ram and Krishna and all that. So you can say that if you want to stretch that way, you can say. See, basically, if God is everywhere, it can take any form. And sometimes I just heard one story about, some miracle. Okay, this fellow said that he was in the middle of the ocean drowning, and nobody could get to him because the situation was up in Florida, Panama City. And he's saying a dolphin came and pulled him out. of underwater. Current was under. And he said that he heard a voice in his head, ask for help. God is everywhere. So he said, nobody's going to come here. So he said, but the voice was so strong. He said, God, please help me. And he's saying, before he knew, the dolphin came and held him from his whatever, जो भी उसका fin होता है, और उसको पूरा ऊपर धकेल दिया उसने. And then the boat saw him and he got, rescued. Somebody can say just flukes. He says it's a miracle. Okay. And then he had many other experiences in his life about, and then he became a spiritual person. He said that I said to God that if you save me, I will believe in you and I'll spread your word in this world. Then he became, a spiritual guide to other people. So God can come through anything, and we can call it avatar. We can say that, it took a form of his to help me. And those are the Puranic stories that when it was needed, God came as a fish. When it was needed, it came as this. That's what it's telling us. That help can come from anywhere, anytime, because there is a cosmic intelligence in this cosmos, and that's how it works, So we can take this discussion more maybe toward the last part of it.
Right.
Yeah. So because there are so many questions and all that. Who would like to read this? Any volunteers? Okay, so I guess Manilji.
By that very foremost practice, he is born on in spite of himself. Even he who merely wishes to know yoga goes beyond the sub-Brahma.
Shabda Brahman. It's called Shabda Brahman.
Shabd Brahman. At any given moment, our bank balance can only be the balance to our credit and debit shown in our statement of accounts. No banker can give us more, nor can he cheat us with a smaller amount. Almost in the same fashion, in the cultural growth of a given mind and intellect, no God can either take away any or give some more, but can only hand over to each one of us our own exact balance. Each life has a logical continuity with its own past, as strictly as we experience in the day-to-day life that the today is but an extension of the yesterday. With the full understanding of this law of life in our mind, if we are to reread this stanza, it becomes quite clear.
So there are another aspect Swamiji is bringing over here. If Krishna Bhagavan said nothing goes waste, so you are getting whatever you have done. It's as simple as that. So, we can't complain to anybody or blame it on anybody or do any of that once we know this. It's like, law of karma is, you can call it over here also, fits in. And then when we talk to children, we always say that it's like, whatever you sow, that's what you reap. That's what they say, right? So if you are like, I have a mango tree, and all of a sudden, no, I want avocado tree now. I'm going to just pray to God, I'm going to put this avocado seed, I'm going to say a mango come out or vice versa, whatever, because neighbor has it. It's not going to happen. So whatever you have put in, that's exactly what you will get out. So this, I guess, applies to the spiritual life also. So we can't cheat, that, hey, some people say, oh, मैंने इतना किया, मुझे क्यों नहीं मिला? Maybe we have not done it properly. So even that can fit over there. But if my intention is something else in my heart, it is not, I'm saying that I want to connect with God, but I just want name and fame. See that what I'm saying? So again, there is a problem then. Because he's talking about, purifying your mind, and the purer the intention, the better results you will get.
An individual who has been in yoga in his past life will be by that very foremost practice borne on in spite of himself. This is true even in our life here. An educated man, in spite of himself, will be carried away in his behavior and conversation to exhibit his cultivated mental and physical habits. No cultured man can successfully imitate an idiot for a long time. So too, no rascal can, with profit, act the part of a noble for any length of time. Both will sooner or later be compelled, in spite of themselves, to exhibit unconsciously their true nature through their words, ideas, and actions.
So everybody understood, right? Whatever we are made up of, sooner or later is going to come out your nature. And कितना भी हम लोग pretend करने की कोशिश करेंगे जो हम नहीं हैं, after a while वो सामने आ ही जाएगा. And it's like you take a PhD and you tell them, tomorrow you pretend to be a illiterate person now. उसके सामने जैसे आएगा वो पढ़ेगा. So it's such a simple thing. And then we know that Drishtant, I was remembering, everybody probably has heard of that Drishtant, that this Swami goes to a river and he sees this bichu was drowning, so he picks it up and the bichu bites him. And then वो bite करता है तो उसके हाथ से फिर से गिर जाता है, फिर वो पानी में डूबने लगता है, फिर वो उसको उठाता है. And it happened about 10 times. So there's one person who was watching is saying, are you mad or something? The bichu keeps biting you and you keep saving it. I mean, are you stupid or something? Just let it go. And he said, no, bichu ne apna swabhav nahi choda, to main kaise chhod sakta hu? Because he was like, hey, I want to save him no matter what. And then I heard another Western story, which I think is about Abraham Lincoln. So it seems that, in the earlier days, when America was being formed and all that, he was wearing these boots and he was going to go because it was still not, like, it was rough and all that in those days, the roads and all that. And he was going in a car or something and he saw one pig was daldal mein phasa hua tha wo. Like some kind of kichad, and he was kind of getting drowned in that kichad. So even though he was like the president, but he told his driver to stop the car. He got out, he got into the kichad and saved him, and then came out, and then he came to the meeting. So his boots were all kichad mein sane hue the. So they asked him what happened. So he said, so wow, you are a president and you did this? What a great man. He said, no, I'm not a great man. I did it to just so that I don't feel bad. I had this pain in my heart when I saw them, and I was just trying to alleviate that pain. I was not trying to do anything else. So that's what it is, that the swabhav is so strong, it's going to just come out no matter what.
Similarly, a man who had in the past lived the life of self-control, study and practice gathers unto himself those cultural traits. He, in this life, in spite of himself, and in spite of all his adverse circumstances, environments, and conditions of life, cannot but instinctively come to exhibit in his attitudes to life and in his behavior towards the things and beings in the world a tranquility and balance which in most cases is a surprise even to himself.
So again, he's saying that, that internal swabhav is so strong, and this person who has done all these sadhanas, it just, even the outside circumstances are not going to stop him. And we saw that, so many people, their families might stop them. And a Buddha's story is so famous one. The father tried so hard कि he doesn't go on spiritual path, and उसको पूरा बांध के रखा, उसको बाहर नहीं भेजा. First opportunity that he got, everything just bursted out, So same thing over here. And here, Sheila ji is over here. Hare Krishna, sometimes these people will say, one or two of the parents whose kids wanted, because they were born in this Western culture and Christianity, Judaism and all that, and they started getting attracted. Parents ने मारा पीटा सब कुछ किया, psychiatrist के पास भी लेके गए होंगे, इसका दिमाग खराब हो गया ये. But in the end, they just could not help themselves. And then later on, the parents also turned around and became devotees. In one or two cases, they were telling us. So that's what they're talking about, that it's so strong in them.
Umaji, in this case, parents are ignorant
Of course.
because they
Yeah.
don't know what is good for the kid.
Yes. So that's what they were talking about. There is one over here, Balram Dasa, over here. And other guy was talking about him. He's saying that पहले उसके parents इतने unhappy थे, अभी उसके parents भी एकदम devotee हो गए हैं because उनको पता चला कि look how great he's doing. He's become a better person. He's guiding other people to be better human beings and all that. So it's all the spiritual thing they realized. And then उसकी sister भी आने लगी यहाँ पे. They live in another town, but whenever they have become devotees also. So true. Sometimes in the beginning they are ignorant, so they will change themselves because they see the greatness of that person then.
This is not a mere theory. The truth of this statement is amply evident everywhere in any society, in all strata of its life, in all its professions, and all the departments of its activities. Each one of us has an instinctive bent of mind, and we are irresistibly drawn towards it, in spite of ourselves. This pull is most powerful when they are arising from our essential evolutionary tendencies. Even a bandit chieftain can overnight turn himself to be a determined seeker and ere long become the first great poet of the land, as Valmiki did in the past. Hundreds of such examples can be noted in our recent history and amidst us today. In all those cases, the only satisfactory explanation will be that the individual mind and intellect is expressing through its given physical structure its own characteristics, tendencies, which it had acquired by itself in its past incarnations through its own willful actions performed and deliberate motives entertained.
So we know, these are all the examples in our Shastras, Puranas, Valmiki ji, and all that. What do you call? Others also there. But here in the recent one, we know about Swami Vivekananda ji also. That some people will say, oh, because he met that guru and the guru touched him and all of a sudden something happened, right? There was a whole story. And then Chinmayanand ji used to say, the guru may be touching so many other people. Why it didn't happen to them? Because this fellow had the seed. That's why. So whenever somebody even suddenly turns to spirituality, be assured that he has done it in the previous life. It's coming from there, So it is a gradual process that is happening, Suddenly, it's not going to happen.
So, Umaji, are they basically saying here the same thing, that whatever you have earned in your previous life, you are going to be that in this life?
Yeah, but our job is to make it better. And have faith in that system and, hey, it's working, and put a little more effort. After reading this, we all should get enthusiastic. Hey, the more I do, my life is only going to get better in next life, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank God in our system there is another life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that it's such a satisfaction. Okay, nothing is going waste. True.
Umaji,
Yeah.
does it mean to say that even to have that interest to become spiritual, interest to practice bhakti is also in this life, is also because of the past karmas?
Yes, because your mind has become purified to a certain extent, because that's why जो लोग पूरे नास्तिक और एथियस्ट होते हैं ना, वो तो सुनना भी नहीं चाहेंगे, right? भाग जाएंगे, कुछ ऐसा होएगा, कुछ उल्टा सीधा बोल के. Yeah, so the fact that you are connecting and you have interest, and sometimes even within the same life you start and then for a while you give up, but then you come back to it.
Absolutely.
Because like in all our cases, if you go back to your childhood, you may have been connected. Like I remember that my parents, at that time I didn't even know, they took me to Vrindavan and all that, and I was very, very young, and I didn't know, coming from Mumbai, what it was, but I thought it was such a great place. Everybody was so nice, and I felt very, very good, you know. And then for a while after that, I didn't do anything. Then I got connected to Chinmaya Mission. So in our own life, if after reading this, we will see that there some seed was there already,
Okay.
Yeah.
When an individual who was a fallen yogi in the past is reborn in spite of himself, he is drawn towards a life of meditation and quietude, a life of seeking and striving, a life of self-control and discipline. May he be put on the throne of a kingdom, or in the bustle of a marketplace, or in the ignominy of the gutters, he cannot but express his nobility of heart and the philosophical bent of his mind. All the wealth of the world commanded, unquestioned might and power gained, love or respect given, cannot persuade him away from his divine path. And in the whole world stands surprised at his peculiar tendencies, we cannot at any time say that he is not himself one of those who is gazing on with the widest surprise and the uttermost amazement. By that previous practice alone is he born in spite of himself.
So he's just giving you example that the whole world can be on one side, but he will give up everything. And we know Nachiketa's story now.
Yeah.
I have put over here Nachiketa. And also Mirabai. She was a princess, but she used to go on the street and dance, with all those other sadhus, and her family got so upset with her and all that. Say, you're a queen and you're doing all this. And so we know that the people who have that in them, nothing holds them back. And Buddha's story, so many, even in, later part, Mirabai, though it's only 500 years ago. So we know that. And even today, you can probably see those examples. I told you about that Radhanath Swami, who is right now in Mumbai. He comes once in a while. I think Shilaji knows him. And he was born in the Jewish family. And it didn't stop him from pursuing this. So, Swamiji is just saying all these things.
After observing this philosophical truth, Lord Krishna is naturally tempted to express the glory of meditation, yoga. He says, one who has even the desire to know control, yoga, he passes beyond the Vedic ritual.
So here is your answer in this, Prabhakarji, in Swamiji's explanation. Yeah. Go ahead.
According to Shankara, the term Shabd Brahma used here denotes the words in the Veda, wherein the term Veda denotes only the ritualistic portion. Therefore, the Acharya, commenting upon this portion, says that such an individual goes beyond all the charms for the promised fruits of the Vedic rituals. This may be rightly considered as a commentary, rather too labored, although its implications are indeed only too true. One who has warped his mind in the practice of self-control, study and meditation in the past could not have any more fascination for the material wealth or the sensuous life, however celestial they might be. Even if this interpretation fits in with the context, he must admit that the term has been labored by the teacher of the Advaita philosophy.
So he's just saying that one of the meanings is that he doesn't want any material desires fulfilled. And, we saw that Nachiketa's story fits in perfectly well over here. That they told me, ye milega, wo milega, lambi life, all the women and Swarglok, and you can rule the whole 3 lokas, and he said, nothing doing. I don't want all this. So that's what it is. It means over here, going beyond Shabda Brahman. That's what it is. And then the last part, he's going to explain what I was saying, that Shabda Brahma Om is considered Shabda Brahma, but in Om also there is that whole science that you can get everything through Om, according to them. You can get material gain or you can get Brahman. So this goes beyond that to go to Brahma. That's what he's saying. Okay.
In the tradition of the Upanishads, Shabda Brahma
Brahman.
is
It is Shabda Brahman.
Shabda Brahman is expounded as the sacred mantra Om. This interpretation seems to fall in line with the traditional Hindu scriptures. In short, in the context of the discourses, the Lord wants to glorify the path of meditation more than the path of action and worship, and therefore, he says herein, even the inquirer in the path of meditation goes beyond the finite fruits of worshipping Om, the Shabda Brahman.
There is a footnote. You want to read that part?
The discourse of Krishna in Geeta chapter 6 called Yoga of Meditation.
So
And then there is another one, Maitri Upanishad
Yes.
6.22.
But does it say the meaning there?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, here in mine it says, passing beyond this, men disappear in the supreme, the soundless, unmanifest Brahman. So it's talking about that Turiya state. So he's saying that what Swamiji is trying to explain, that remember, this is a conversation between Arjun and Krishna Bhagwan. So whatever Arjun's makeup of mind was, according to that, Krishna Bhagwan is giving the discourse, right? And most of us do fit in that Arjun's category. That's why it appeals to us also. So he's just telling him that the one who even, what does it say? Merely wishes to know the yoga. Tu shuru to kar. That's what he's telling him. Tu par ho jayega. You know, they bolte na, you ask for it and you get it. Like I was telling you that miracle story, is saying that he keeps getting this, hey, God is everywhere in this universe, but sometimes you have to ask for help. And what does that do? That makes us humble. Because then we go beyond our ego. Because we're saying, oh, I can do everything. And no, please, I can't do everything. God help me. That's what they all say about symbolism of Draupadi also. That, hey, her 5 husbands were sitting there, Bhishma Pitama was sitting, nobody helped. Finally, she gave up and she said, God, you only help. So then God came immediately to help her. So that's what they're talking about over here, that when in this line, you have to take it from that perspective, that Krishna Bhagwan is trying to encourage, Arjun to follow this path. That, get interested in this path. Put some effort and you will get good result. That's what he's telling us. Any question, comment? Anybody wants to add anything? So I'll close Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshaishyami ma shuchah. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.